Hello, everyone. Let's see if you can see me. Okay, the normal routine. Yes, great. Now can you hear me? Let's see me. Yes, technology is on our side today. I hope you had a great day today. It was lovely here in Melbourne. It's a beautiful day to ride. I just be with the horses. So if you're here, come and say hi. If you're new to this group, welcome. Lovely to have you here with us. If you see this later on replay, #replay. Tag your friends who struggle with lack of confidence, anxiety, fear, self-doubt. Invite them to this group so they can have this training as well. If you don't know me, I'm Abby Spielman. I'm a trauma therapist who helps female equestrians all across Australia to overcome fear, anxiety, and self-doubt. And today I want to show you a different way of looking at anxiety and fear. So you can begin shifting from anxious and unsettled to calm and grounded. And you may have heard the quote from Wayne Dyers. It's my favorite quote. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that applies beautifully to anxiety, because when you change the way you perceive your anxiety, you actually start to loosen its grip. So instead of treating it like the enemy, you can begin asking, what is my anxiety trying to tell me? What's behind this feeling that maybe I need to pay more attention to? The more you're curious, the less power anxiety has. And here's a fun fact. Did you know that emotions only last about 90 seconds in the body? After that, what keeps them going are the stories we tell ourselves about them. And those stories don't appear out of nowhere. They are shaped by our past experiences and beliefs. And the very first step in shifting them is actually noticing them. Maybe just sit with them, even for a moment, without judgment. Because you probably heard the saying, what you resist persists. And that's exactly what happens with emotions. If you try not to cry, you feel that tight chest, that clenched jaw. But if you allow the emotion, it moves through. The same goes with fear. Many women I work with are actually more afraid of feeling the fear itself. They don't want to feel it in the body and they want it gone right away. And I get that. It's an uncomfortable feeling. But the harder you push fear away, the longer it stays. Along with the butterflies, the racing thoughts, the tension in your chest. So I'd like you to imagine a box where you shove down emotions from the day. It could be the good emotions, the bad, the uncomfortable ones. And over time, that box gets full. At some point, the lid rattles and what's inside actually starts to bubbles up. Then maybe someone says something that reminds you of an old wound. Or maybe your horse doesn't behave the way you expected. And suddenly, you snap. You feel overwhelmed. And it spills out, it comes out as yelling at your kids, snapping at your partner, or being harder on your horse than you actually mean to. It's actually your nervous system telling you the box is full. Anxiety, stress, even panic, they are all signals. They're trying to say there's no more room. You need to pay attention. And then you have a choice. Do I keep pushing it down, or do I decide it's time to change? And maybe start emptying that box. Which option do you prefer? Let me know in the comments. And let me ask you this. Do you feel the need to control everything in your life, or maybe control your horse? That usually comes from a place of inner insecurity. I'll give you an example. I work with a woman who grew up in a very unsafe environment. She later moved to Australia and found safety here, but because of her past, she still felt the need to control everything, like the family life, the kids, and especially the horses. Even when her horse was calm and standing still, she'd hold the reins quite tight. And if he flicked an ear, her mind imagined the worst. So instead of enjoying the ride, she spent the whole time putting out fires. We worked on noticing that need for control and asking what would happen if I let go. Over time, we processed their beliefs, the emotion underneath that feeling of being in control, allowed her to feel it in her body with compassion and not judgment. And now she rides on a loose rein. She sees her horse as he is, not as a monster beast. And if the old urge to control pops up, she knows how to shift it back into feeling calm. Because it's never really about the horse. It's about how safe you feel inside. And here's the thing, when you've lived with fear, stress, or anxiety for years, it can actually feel more comfortable to stay there than to change. The discomfort is familiar. Change feels risky. That's why many of us cling to control or perfectionism. And by the way, perfectionism is just another way of trying to feel safe. If I get everything perfect, nothing will fall apart, right? But it only fuels anxiety and self-doubt. Now, I'm not sure if you heard about Dr. Gabor Mate. He talks about trauma and stress. And he mentioned about authenticity, how it feels in the body, being true to yourself. When I feel authentic, I feel calm, grounded, safe in my own skin. When I don't, I feel anxious, stressed, and like I like people pleasing. Anxiety is a signal that says something here doesn't feel right. And you get to choose, either push it down deeper into the box or face it with honesty. And to be frank, you don't need to have a horse right now to start working on your emotions. Horses have a beautiful way of bringing up the feelings we've tucked away into the boxes. Those emotions we'd rather not look at, right? For many of the women I work with, the emotions that surface when they are with the horses are not actually about the horse at all. They are about old wounds, stress, or unprocessed experiences that really show up through the horse. And here's another thing, even if you're between horses or on a break or still looking for your new partner, this is actually the perfect time to focus on yourself. When you take the time to notice what's happening inside your body, to be honest with yourself, to practice authenticity, you're not just preparing to ride again, you're creating clarity. And when you feel grounded, open, and authentic, you'll know exactly what kind of horse you're looking for, how that horse can support you, and how you can best support them. That kind of self-awareness makes you a stronger, kinder, and more confident partner in the saddle and in life, actually. So because, you see, the truth is, these emotions don't only show up around horses. If you ignore them, they will surface in other places, like at family gatherings, at social situations, at work. You might feel that heaviness in your chest, that weight on your shoulders, or that knot in your stomach in moments that seem unrelated. And horses just have a way of amplifying what's already inside us. Because I hear ladies telling me, wait until I get my new horse, then I will probably feel nervous, then I'll call you. If you feel anxious just thinking about your new horse or your new adventure, then you don't have to wait until you get the horse, because then you will focus on the horse and probably put yourself last. Am I right? So while you're in a season of waiting, not sure if you're going to ride again, taking a break, or searching for the right horse, see it as an opportunity. This is the time to ask yourself, what are my goals? What kind of partnership do I really want? How do I want to feel about riding, about myself? Do I feel nervous or anxious now without having a horse? Why do I feel this way? What is behind this anxiety? You see, because anxiety doesn't magically disappear. It is a process. It takes time. It's not a magic pill. Working on those answers now will mean that when you do step into that next chapter, you're not just getting back in the saddle. You're doing it with clarity, confidence, and authenticity. Authenticity. It's a hard word. As being honest, especially around horses, is so important. I see it actually as a safety issue. See, I used to be part of an RDA club, and they asked me one day to ride a horse that wasn't in the best mood to be saddled. And I refused to do that because there must have been a reason why he wasn't happy about the saddle compared to other days that he was fine. So although it was uncomfortable to say no, I was honest with myself and my truth. And I see it happens all the time when friends invite you on a trail ride and something in you says no, but you don't feel comfortable speaking up or to say you don't want to participate. So you go anyway. And that anxiety in your body saying, this doesn't feel safe for me. Or maybe your partner says, just ride, what's the problem? And you don't know how to explain your fear. So you either feel forced to ride, which is unenjoyable, or you procrastinate. And I've been there. My husband isn't a horsey person, and when he said, just ride, I couldn't explain why I felt so anxious. And that's okay, you don't have to have all the answers. But you do need to be honest with yourself and ask, why am I scared? Is it just the age, or is there something deeper underneath? For me, I eventually discovered that my anxiety came from growing up in an unstable environment, and horses back then were my safe place. So when my gelding stopped feeling safe, my whole world collapsed. My body reacted with shaky hands, butterfly in my stomach, and self-doubt. And many women I work with share the same frustration. After a break from riding, they expect themselves to just jump back into the saddle and continue where they left off. But think about it. If you stop running for 5 years, let's say, you wouldn't expect to run a marathon right away, right? Or if you stop playing piano, you wouldn't expect to perform flawlessly, right? Yet with horses, we put enormous pressure on ourselves to pick up exactly where we left off. And that pressure only feeds the anxiety. So instead of pushing away the uncomfortable feeling, what if you ask, what is this trying to tell me? Maybe the belief underneath is, I'm not safe, or I don't want to disappoint anyone. Often those beliefs come from much earlier in life. Like maybe you've been laughed at school, or maybe been pushed into new things without support, or subtle childhood messages we carried forward. And the key is to meet yourself in the present moment with compassion, curiosity, not judgment. So when you feel anxious and you don't know why yet, here are 2 simple ways you can practice to help you through it. So number 1, try to match steps with your horse. And I love this exercise. Let the horse walk beside you and notice their rhythm. Let your body fall in sync with theirs. This naturally grounds you both. And maybe hear the footsteps, feel the presence next to you. Pay attention if they look at something, you can look as well. It will help you stay present in your body, which will loosen the anxiety. And number 2, Breathe. With or without your horse next to you. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts, then hold it for 5 or 6 and exhale really slowly for maybe up to 8 counts. Then repeat. You can also notice your horse's breath and try to match it for a few moments. These are all small practices. Signal to your nervous system, I'm safe, I'm here, I don't need to control everything. Because anxiety, fear, perfectionism, they're not punishment, they're just signals. And when you change the way you look at those signals, the signals themselves begin to change. So if today's video helped you look at your anxiety in a new way, I'd love to hear from you. Send me a message or share what came up for you. And if you'd like more support in working with your nervous system so you can ride with confidence again, I invite you to book a free strategy call with me. I'll leave the link in the comments below, or you can simply comment the word chat and I'll reach out to you. There's no stress. It's just an honest conversation to understand your challenges, your goals, and see if I can help. So if you would like to chat, I'm here for you. Just comment the word chat. Thank you so much for being here today and enjoy your evening.